All right, eighth graders, for lesson 16 for our virtual learning day, we did have you kind of write down the learning target of I can pay attention to an author's word choice to determine how the setting influences the characters or the character actions or sometimes how the character feels. Hopefully you watched the funny Key and Peele video, specifically looking at what he literally is saying and then what he figuratively is saying as far as like making an exaggeration to kind of show or get across a certain point. Kind of another example of figurative language in the "don't roll your eyes at me" picture down there, him literally rolling the eyes, and that's obviously not what the mother meant. Hilarious. All right, so just like we always do before we have you do a student practice or student work, we kind of want to model for you what that should look like. So kind of looking at the two short stories we've been reading so far within 8th grade this year, Popularity with Will in 4th grade, and then The Fight, where Will's kind of grown up and is an 8th grader. Within Popularity, we kind of look at, in the beginning of the story, kind of like the tar and the asphalt, kind of in the sentence in that second bullet point, while the two Allens faced off, I looked across the tar and the asphalt. So if we look at that in a literal sense, tar, asphalt, that's all like dark colors, like a hot, sticky playground you think of. So kind of think, would this sound different if Will was like, while the two Allens faced off, I looked across the green grass and blooming flowers? Yeah, probably gives like a positive meaning to that sentence, where instead we're kind of stuck with tar and asphalt, which if you look down here at the bottom, literally the setting is dark, but figuratively the playground is a dark place for Will where he almost feels stuck. And it is important to note that with our figurative interpretation, two people can like read the same book, watch the same movie, and kind of get two different figurative meanings. As long as you can connect the figurative meaning with the literal meaning, you should be good. So there's not going to be like a one correct answer within your books. There's going to be multiple answers between literal and figurative meanings. Another example too, I know we haven't finished The Fight, but within the short story of what we've read so far, we kind of literally, we see kind of like this playground, cafeteria, and school setting, kind of where it's a little tense, a little competitive. People in the playground, they're competing against each other in a basketball game. In the cafeteria, people are having arguments and competing orally. So if we kind of look at then the figurative meaning of that, it kind of almost brings on a sense of dread and anxiety, and almost like you're very, very anxious as we kind of anticipate this fight. So that's just one example of a figurative meaning. So what we would like for you to do is from your own independent books, maybe do some reading like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And as you're reading, once again, keep paying attention to the setting. You can even look back at some of your previous journal entries to help you with this. And then we just want you to write down 3 interesting examples, and we kind of have like A, B, C, D here for you to choose that you would write down in your journals. So what is the mood of the setting you could write down? You could write down an example of a literal meaning and the figurative meaning, and then maybe even how does the setting influence the character. So we're just looking at 3 examples for you to look at there. Either it's going to be in Schoology, if your teachers have it in Schoology, or it's going to be in your journal. So just kind of pay attention in class the day before to see where your teacher tells you to do this, or if it's going to be a Schoology Dropbox or a journal entry. But other than that, we will see you for the next lesson.